The following program is based on fictional events. The questions posed are designed to stimulate discussion and reveal the hows and whys behind the decision-making process during a hurricane emergency.
In 2005, Hurricane Katrina tested the will and tenacity of hundreds of thousands of people, testing the decisions of hundreds of elected officials, public officials, and other personnel in key roles. On August 12th of 2004, decision makers in Tampa Bay were tested by a different monster, Hurricane Charlie, a Category 2 storm with sustained winds of 110 miles per hour. These scenes of destruction could just as easily been here in St. Petersburg, Clearwater, or Seminole. What if Category 4 Hurricane Charlie continued its trajectory and made landfall in Pinellas County? What would be the consequences? How would our leaders and public and private sector officials make decisions about our safety? What is the best course of action? We have assembled a panel of 14 elected officials, as well as public and private first responders, to react to 10 fictional scenarios, with no rehearsals, no scripts. We ask these decision makers to react to the possible situations they may have faced with Hurricane Charlie. Joining us is Ken Welsh, Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners. Rick Baker, Mayor of the City of St. Petersburg. Steve Spratt, Pinellas County Administrator. Bill Horn, City Manager of the City of Clearwater. Gary Vickers, Director of Pinellas County Emergency Management. Fire Chief Robert Ballou, City of St. Petersburg. Ron Anderson, Florida Department of Transportation. Chris Jadek, News Director, WFTS Channel 28's Action News. Gail Guidish, Director of Public Health Preparedness, Pinellas County Health Department. Captain Scott Steiner, Disaster Preparedness Coordinator, Pinellas County Sheriff's Department. Carol Madura, Emergency Planning Coordinator, Pinellas County School Board. Jim Ralston, Director of Operations for Water Quality, Pinellas County Utilities. Ivan Collins, Progress Energy. And Joe Fernandez, Solid Waste Operations, Pinellas County Utilities. Our moderator is Mike Deason with Tampa Bay's 10 News.
Let's get started. Let me preface this by saying 14 years ago today, when Hurricane Andrew hit, my news director had a brilliant idea that I should drive Tamiami Trail with a photographer to see how bad it was. It was bad. The latest hurricane advisory is out, and the National Hurricane Center has hurricane warnings posted for all of the west coast of Florida, that cone of disaster. Landfall is projected within 24 hours. The hurricane is like a Hurricane Charlie, and it indicates the eye will pass over northern Pinellas County. So the first question is, do we order an evacuation? Now, Gary, I know you're the one that wants to talk about it, but you really don't have the authority. You've got to get the authority from the Pinellas Board of County Commissioners. So what do you do when you all of a sudden say, should I be advising my commissioners that we should have an evacuation or not?
Well, actually that is taking place in the background for quite some time, even before we get to the point that the scenario says we're at right now.
Now, Rick, what are you doing at this time? You're hearing about this hurricane. Are you talking to Gary? Are you talking to Steve?
Yes, we are, and we're also gearing up our City Emergency Operations Center and the sub-centers. We have, of course, our main operations center, which is the cabinet and all the heads of the departments. And then you have a center for your water department, sewer department.
Is going to cause a bigger problem if there is an evacuation. Are you talking with Gary? You talking to Steve? You talking to Ken? What are you doing at this point?
Well, 24 hours out, we're already in the EOC, and we have an emergency manager who has been on a conference call.
Now,
I think
Steve,
something that Bill said is important for folks to understand, because I'm not sure they do.
now, obviously, there's an important decision to be made about evacuation because it takes a long time to get people out of Pinellas County. Steve, do you go to Ken? Who delivers the bad news and say, okay, you got to call the evacuation now?
Yes, we do. The EOC is activated well in advance of that.
Call an evacuation, the hurricane doesn't come, and you're crying wolf. And then when the real thing comes, they don't want to go. And you're obviously in a political office. It's expensive to evacuate.
Right.
How do you make that decision, whether you pull the trigger this time, you say, well, can we wait a little bit longer? Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, you know, my perspective is you always err on the side of caution.
Just weeks and months. If we get hit 10 years from now, we'll still be feeling the effects of that storm. But one of the things that happens when all those houses are out is there's looting. I mean, the bad guys don't take time off. How problematic is that for you, Scott?
Well, we have been, our deputies and our police officers from this county have been down to Andrew and been to Charlie and been up to Ivan. And
Ron, the roads. I mean, how long, there's going to be major damage to the roads. How long is it going to take to get those roads back together so we can have some degree of normalcy?
I don't believe there's going to be a lot of damage to the roadway itself.
What about the bridges, though?
I believe the bridges will get damaged. You won't have any traffic signals. You won't have any signs.
You folks have prepared as best you can for something that everyone tells us is not a matter of if, but when it hits here. And I thank you all for being with us this evening, and thank you as well.
The preceding program was based on fictional events. The questions posed were designed to stimulate discussion and reveal the hows and whys behind the decision-making process during a hurricane emergency. Responses are not meant to reflect exact policy. There is no one right answer to any of the situations presented.